Hello, and welcome to the Legacy Lines podcast. My name is Jason, and today is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. And this is episode number 11. And at Legacy Lines, we dive into each episode as a journey into the wisdom that shapes our lives. And I'm Jason, as I said, your guide through the stories and strategies that forge exceptional paths. Here we dive into teachings that have not only shaped my life, but can redefine yours. From the biblical landscapes that guide us to the financial acumen that builds empires. Join me as we unpack the tool sets for extraordinary results. This isn't just knowledge, it's legacy in the making. And I have the privilege to be in my home studio office today. And I'm trying some new software, just trying to iterate little iterations better and better, making my footprint smaller and simple, more repetitive, all while trying to up the quality 1 to 5% every single time. And sometimes that's a fleeting goal. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. This title is something that's near and dear to my heart: 7 habits that turn ordinary people into high performers. And guess what? It's not going to be packed with groundbreaking ideas, but I would say it's going to resurrect some time-tested principles. Of course, legacy lines, blah, blah, blah. You guys get the idea at this point if you've listened to any of my other episodes, that we're just going to talk about these things and apply real life application on how they show up. So I also wanted to point out that when you embrace these habits, you don't just improve, you transform. As I was preparing for this lesson, I'll give you the background of how I came across this content. I often find myself reviewing content on LinkedIn. And by the way, like, LinkedIn is just such a powerful engine. And the last 2 jobs that I've taken have just been through connections on LinkedIn, and they've been important career moves. And, saw the posting, reached out to a contact, and then there you go. The rest is history. And so I've gotten in the habit of, when I stumble across something that speaks to me, I read it and I put it into action. And I've developed that habit over a long period of time. So today, I'm going to take these ideas and then respond with applicable personal examples of each of these 7 habits that turn ordinary people into high performers. But I want to give credit to, this was a post some time back from Blake Weston, Weston, and he's the founder of Outsized Advantage, and their tagline is helping founders gain an outsized advantage through their LinkedIn personal brand. So I did want to promote that, give credit where credit is due. So again, once in a while, I'll run into something that takes what I've been wrestling with, or really did not have a way to catalog the thoughts or ideas, yet. And so that's a whole different vein of thinking. What is an original idea anyways? Much like every podcast that I do, there's always these rabbit holes. I've called them tributaries in the past. We're going to what is an original thought, original idea anyway? Or what group and people group or organization or situation that is so specific to your application that it's quote unquote never been done before. So I always push back on the idea that there is no original ideas. I, by default, reject that line of thinking. And the primary reason is that there's no original ideas. We are a culmination of our life experiences and the people groups and circles that we run in. And it would be very arrogant to think that we weren't impacted and have the market cornered on principal ideas. Now, I'm not talking about inventions. I'm not talking about a way product and services needs to function into said market. I'm simply talking about who we are as people. So, have you ever heard the statement, there's nothing new under the sun? Well, this idea originates from the biblical book of Ecclesiastes, and in chapter 1, verse 9 and 10, this is known as a wisdom book in the Old Testament, traditionally attributed to King Solomon as the author. And it should be noted, the Bible refers to King Solomon as the wisest man that ever lived and ever will live. That's a pretty lofty statement there. That's powerful. So when I want to make a pit stop here for a minute. The phrase of nothing new under the sun is part of a broader discourse on the cynical nature of life and the repetitive patterns observed in human history and nature. So King Solomon presents a worldview that emphasizes the transient and often futile nature of human endeavors when viewed from a purely earthly perspective. That's an important distinction there. So getting more for ourselves, nihilism, things of that nature. So the phrase suggests that human experiences, achievements, struggles are not unique to any one generation. Again, there's nothing new under the sun. Instead, they are part of a continuous cycle that has persisted throughout history. That's kind of where I end up when I dissect and reason with that. So this perspective can be seen as to call humility, a call to humility, reminding individuals of their place within the broader tapestry of God's creation. God has built us with a unique design, and it is imperative that quote unquote what we put our hand to matters and gives life. So those who you choose to be around and who influences you, blah blah blah, that can make you cynical, or it can inspire it can inspire excitement, knowing that knowledge is out there and I've just not yet come into it and been able to apply it to said situations. That I'm trying to apply it, and I choose to apply it later, and that is that thing that people hold so close to is like, I am so specific, I am so unique that I have this original idea. I can't share it with anybody. I can't have feedback from it, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing new under the sun. The struggles have been for generations over generations. And we're talking about human experiences, achievement, and struggles are not unique to any one generation. I will move on from that, but I wanted to give a little caveat there and run down that rabbit hole lightly. So let's dive in. Principle number one, that of the 7 habits that turn ordinary people into high performers. So take initiative. There's a groundbreaking idea. Opportunities aren't given, they're created. Seek solutions before problems even arise and watch doors open. Wow. Right out of the gate, like that's just deep into the pool without a swimming test, mind you. So I think that we have to dissect this with the tension of taking ground when we're not asked. That's something I've struggled with. But the reality of it is when you take ground and seek solutions before problems arise, this sets you apart almost immediately. In my experience and with what I do now, it in my role, it's 100% expected that if you don't do it, you're gone. If you don't get there on your own, we pay you for results, et cetera, et cetera. But I can think of countless times in my career, both professionally and inside of nonprofits, when there was needs and ideas, and I just simply took the next steps to bring it to life. A simple example of this would be a training academy that I had organized at a nonprofit that I'm a part of, to onboard and train up a certain skill set that we needed to have as a baseline. It's like there was a problem, I sought a solution, I created a solution, or new products to independent telephone companies. In a past life, I happened to have the privilege of working for an organization that was owned by independent telephone companies. So they were we were a cooperative of members, is the way to say that. And there was all this talk, how can we give these member owners some better forward thinking products? How can we get these things out the door? But there's all these objections. And so what I simply decided to do was say, this is beneficial. Our shareholders would see value in this. Let's get the right individuals together to design this and strategize and then take initiative and execute. Again, opportunities aren't given, they're created. Number 2, define clear goals. If you can't see it, you can't achieve it. Visualize your objectives daily and map out actionable steps to reach them. I often call this starting with the end in mind. I was just speaking before I sat down to record this with a mentee of mine, explaining this. They were up against said situation, et cetera, et cetera. But I'll use the previous example I was talking about, starting with the end in mind. So in the previous example of the independent telephone companies, we needed competent skill sets to come and engineer the design to make available and partner with our independent ITC owners with emerging products in the industry that they didn't have a skill set of, but we wanted them to offer them to make them relevant in their local market, or stay relevant or continue to be relevant, while understanding and partnering with them on what their quote unquote legacy ways of making money were and why they were important to them. So we had to define those clear goals. So of course, once we knew that, this drove the ideation process and the product engineering and the way it was constructed and sold. So we started with the end in mind, that we had scenarios, whether that was regulatory. There's governing bodies in the telecommunications space that operate territorially speaking, that there are subsidies, they're subsidized in certain ways, and we had to be cautious of that and make it an attractive offering so it would be mutually beneficial. But that was number 2, define clear goals. And then number 3, so we're moving right along here. Number 3 is master prioritization. Focus your energy where it counts the most. Tackle high impact tasks first to prevent tackle high impact tasks first to prevent overwhelming situations and maintaining momentum all along the way. Can't say this enough. 1000% yes. I start each day with the highest impact and often hardest tasks first. I've had to build up to this. It didn't happen overnight, but be vigilant to focus on what really matters. Often, if it doesn't equate to building people or revenue, it's just simply busy work or noise. That is a good grid work to, does this in said organization that I'm a part of, or what I'm being asked to do, or even in my family. If this doesn't equate to building people or revenue, it is often just busy work or noise. Some of it's necessary. I would say 80% of it's not. Number 4, cultivate positivity. So your mindset shapes your reality. Surround yourself with people who inspire and uplift you, and especially when challenges arise, because if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's easy to say, it's too hard to do. I'll give you an example. So I was feeling stuck with my certain people groups that I was running with, and I needed to surround myself with people who inspire and uplift me and vice versa, a mutual benefit. And I decided to create what I would say in some certain circles is called like an Eagles group. Those that are unique individuals that are winning in many different ways, but shared common principles about what winning is. And I just simply put the ask out, because I believe that we need to not only have people that are close to us that we can share our struggles with, but as we refine who we are and we continue to progress and become more successful individuals, it's important to also have those people that you can brag to. Just simply put, tell me how you're winning. I want to celebrate that with you. That's very, very rare in this world. So I created I'm oversimplifying it, but I created a guys group to be able to do that, mixed with business owners, entrepreneurs, people that work W-2 jobs, etc. And it's been great and challenging at the same time. And also, I should mention, seeking after mentors is also important. It's important to surround ourselves with those that are in similar season, as I was mentioning in that group, but also those that are in a different season or more of a mature season than we are, something like we're aspiring to be there to cultivate that positivity. And mentoring is not really an age thing. It is a focus and maturity thing. And above all, be this person for others. You want to be mentored by others, but you should be real about also being aware that you need to give back and pour in and be open source with everything. Very important. And always provide, when you're doing these types of things, again, that cultivate positivity, sorry about my voice, always provide solutions or thoughtful responses to complex issues or situationally tough issues to go through that are maybe they're deeply emotional, complex problems or ideas. And under this banner of cultivate positivity, your mindset shapes your reality, in my personal experience in recent years, focused intensity over a long period of time is rare. I've had several very recent examples of what I'll call insights and feedback given to me, communicating that is hard for others to be around me or even hear from me. And there's a variety of reasons why. But honestly, this is growing more lonely for my wife and I in the people circles we're connected to. And so what I have to filter, would be a good word to use, is there are differences that when you're just in a small group setting or a social setting, and there are different times to share very heavy things about how you're winning in life and why that might work for another individual or people group, and when not to share those. So I'm trying to grow into that. And so we've been asking and seeking advice from some of our mentors of ours who have lived and experienced this. And their feedback to us is it's a natural progression, that focused intensity over a long period of time is rare, and it separates you as life goes on. And it's unfortunate, but there is a you must be diligent about refining who you're putting yourself with, because you're outgrowing soil you're planted in, and that's a very weird thing for me to ponder and thinking about. And I'm not doing a great job articulated even here. But as you cultivate that positivity, as you surround yourself with people who inspire and uplift you, especially when challenges arise, when you have focused intensity over a long period of time, just simply go, you know what? I've been blessed to be able to grow in this wisdom and knowledge, and be the person to others as the one who inspires and uplifts them, especially in challenging seasons. Number 5, probably my favorite on this list, commit to lifelong learning. Stay ahead by constantly expanding your skills. Embrace feedback, learn from every experience, and never stop growing. So, as I said, I've mentioned this many times in this podcast and will continue to. My personal brand and my mantra is something I say out loud. I am a lifetime learner. I commit myself to being a lifetime learner. I have mentioned this over and over again to circles of people, to when I'm meeting new colleagues. So the bottom line is, if we commit to this, it will have a compounding effect that is related to mindset, biblical stewardship. That's hilarious. Well, since this is a low production podcast, you're going to hear biblical stewardship in my podcast. So I hope you enjoy that. Kids, you may not say that out loud, okay? And that's not a thing. Let me take one more run at it. Biblical stewardship, humility, confidence, knowing and positioning ourselves that we know that there is always more to learn and we are never content, and we assume that we don't know, not in an ignorant or disconnected way, because that's a real thing, but in a way of, I am open to being wrong, but present other ideas or challenges so I can learn from you. You know, if we're going into a situation, I always want to be open that I I'm open to being wrong, but I want to be presented other ideas or challenges so I can learn from the said party. It's not a standoff, it's a partnership. It's a best idea wins. So on my LinkedIn profile, which I've actually been working on recently for a situation I'll get to in another podcast. But this is what I say. In short, I am a quick learner, well documented, daily prioritized person. This is my little banner, if you will, about me. I believe in the retention of knowledge and doing what you say. I enjoy learning from others, working with people that are farther along in their careers than I am, and picking up wisdom and skills from them. Being a lifetime learner is something that I have committed myself to. I wrote that probably sometime around the time when I wrote my daily vision, and I have a podcast all on that. You can go and listen to that. But that is what I stand for from a professional standpoint and in a lot of other areas of life. Number 6, embrace a growth mindset. See failures as stepping stones, not setback. Celebrate progress over perfection and keep pushing your boundaries. That is huge. Celebrate progress over perfection and keep pushing your boundaries. This podcast is a living example of it. I'm trying new software today. I don't have my virtual background figured out. I am not going to go for a high production podcast, but the reality of it is I'm going to end up with a high production podcast because I embrace a growth mindset. I'm going to celebrate progress over perfection. I'm going to keep pushing my boundaries. Nothing else needs to be said except go read the book by Carol Dweck called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success. And it's came out in 2007, or right at the end of 2007. It is very important. This famous quote nails it. Whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. And that's largely attributed to Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or you can't, you are right. And a little bit of personal insights. I've always focused on finding this out quickly when I work, mentor, or I'm getting to know someone personally or professionally. Do they have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Of course, my own bias and beliefs works towards this, living this out with purpose. I am fast friends typically with others when they have decided that they are those of a growth mindset as well. You tend to run, the old statement goes, I like the me and you. If you've never heard that before, you recognize other things that you value in others. And it's like, oh, we're fast friends because we have so much in common. Well, really, that's just saying, I like the me and you. I always get a chuckle at that. I always get a chuckle at that. And we all need to know that the world is filled with those that are stuck and have not yet discovered this. So operating in a servanthood mentality. So I edit my approach relationally, and or once I'm leading them, to know this, to be aware of this, of how they're either stuck or their mindset is stopping them because they have a fixed mindset. And so this is kindness. And it's important that we choose to operate in kindness for those that we recognize that they don't have a growth mindset, but what can we do to come alongside of them and serve them and help? And a scriptural reference about this is Second Corinthians 5. I'm paraphrasing, putting on the new bodies so we live in confidence that we are not in final state and can access that mindset, quote unquote, now here on earth before eternity with God in heaven. I love that. It's very clear that We are to think uh, heavenward, obviously, but we are not in final state. So we live in confidence of that, and we can position ourselves in a way that I'm open to be wrong. I want to embrace a growth mindset. I don't have the market cornered on ideas. It just compounds over these 7 things. And as you know, as a person with a biblical worldview, bookending this thought, this would also be linked deeply to our identity in Christ and being a new creation. So 2 Corinthians 5:16 and 17 says, I'll just read it verbatim. So we have stopped evaluating others from a human point of view. At one time, we thought of Christ merely from a human point of view. How differently we know him now. This means that anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person, and the old life is gone and the new life has begun. Yes, amen. Onward to number 7, think strategically. So plan today for the successes of tomorrow. Plan today for the successes of tomorrow. Of course, anticipate challenges and prepare multiple steps ahead to stay on course. But remember, success isn't a stroke of luck. It's a product of consistent, intentional action. It's not a stroke of luck. Yes, timing and circles and connections of people. But if you're a person that's doing that consistent, intentional action all the time, you are going to look lucky to those around you. So, how to think strategically, and a personal insight from episode 9 and 10 in my interview with Jim Immel. What is simple gets executed. Wow. That's coming from a long time of seeing businesses try to pivot from Jim. I wanted you to know the root system there. So another 3 or 4 more bullet points on this. You can start simple, and it is highly or unlikely that you will stumble your way into success if you never start. Be a person that has a long time horizon and see the future 10, 12, 15 years down the road. Don't live for today and what's in front of you. I regularly ask people, talk to me about that. What do you see then? How do you see that unfolding 5 years down the road of your life? And I want to encourage you to think and act strategically definitely above basic survival. Allow yourself to dream. Never lose the ability to dream. And I'll close with this. So a little bit of a humorous close in the 2008 Disney Pixar film WALL-E. There's a powerful moment when the Captain B. McCree in the film, the captain realizes that humankind has merely just been surviving aboard the Axiom for centuries and exclaims, and I love this so much. Of course it's from a movie. I don't want to survive. I want to live. This is the moment. This moment marks a turning point for the captain. He decides it's time for humanity to return to Earth and truly live again rather than float along in perpetual automated comfort. So let's read these one more time, 1 through 7, and then we will get out of here. Number 1, take initiative. Opportunities aren't given, they're created. Number 2, define clear goals. If you can't see it, you can't achieve it. Number 3, master prioritization. Focus your energy where it counts the most. Number 4, cultivate positivity. Your mindset shapes your reality. Number 5, commit to lifelong learning. Stay ahead and constantly be expanding your skills. Number 6, embrace a growth mindset. See failures as stepping stones and not setbacks. Number 7, think strategically. Plan today for the successes of tomorrow. And remember that scene out of WALL-E. I don't want to survive. I want to live. Adopt these habits today and watch your life transform beyond your wildest expectations. And I'm living that right now, baby. So, which habit will you start implementing first? And remember, the best is yet to come. I will see you out there. Have a good one.